The smell of fresh bread, the sight of golden pastries in the window, and the promise of a warm cinnamon roll can lure anyone into a bakery chain. But not all of these places live up to their reputation. Behind the display cases, some chains cut corners, use cheap ingredients, or rely on frozen dough shipped from factories instead of baking on-site. What looks like handcrafted quality often hides a mass-produced, sugar-heavy product designed to look appealing but lacking in taste, freshness, and nutrition. Many customers walk away disappointed, realizing they've spent too much money on something that feels stale, greasy, or bland. And in some cases, the problems run deeper, with questionable cleanliness, inconsistent service, or misleading marketing about how fresh their baked goods really are. Let's take a closer look at some bakery chains you'd be wise to avoid at all costs. The first offender is a chain that markets itself as a warm, welcoming cafe-style bakery, but is often exposed for cutting major corners. Panera Bread. On paper, Panera is supposed to be the healthier option, offering fresh bread, pastries, and sandwiches. In reality, a lot of their bread and bagels are par-baked at central facilities and then reheated in-store, which explains why so many people complain about them tasting chewy, dry, or stale. Their pastries often sit out all day under glass, losing moisture and flavor. Add to that the notoriously inconsistent portion sizes for their overpriced sandwiches and soups, and you start to see why so many customers feel tricked. A fresh bakery shouldn't serve reheated frozen goods, but Panera has mastered the art of looking artisanal while selling you factory-made food at premium prices. Next is Cinnabon, the chain famous for its oversized cinnamon rolls dripping with icing. There's no denying that Cinnabon is tempting. The smell alone is engineered to lure you in. But once you've eaten one, the regret often sets in. Their signature roll contains over 800 calories, 60 grams of sugar, and a shocking amount of fat. It's less of a treat and more of a nutritional bomb. The dough is dense, the icing overwhelmingly sweet, and the portion sizes are deliberately extreme to make people indulge far beyond what they intended. For a chain that markets itself on indulgence, the reality is that Cinnabon is the bakery equivalent of fast food. It leaves you stuffed, sluggish, and wondering why you spent so much on something you could barely finish. If you're looking for quality baking, Cinnabon is not the place. It's sugar overload masquerading as dessert. Another chain that's often romanticized but rarely delivers is Dunkin'. Yes, Dunkin' is known for its coffee, but its baked goods are supposed to be part of the package. Unfortunately, their donuts, muffins, and bagels are usually underwhelming at best and inedible at worst. Many customers report that Dunkin's donuts taste stale within hours, the glaze sticky and artificial, and the filling sparse and overly sweet. Their bagels, often microwaved or toasted beyond recognition, lack the chewy texture that real bagels should have. Even their muffins are more like sugar bombs than baked treats, with little substance or flavor variety. Dunkin' operates on convenience, not quality, and their bakery items reflect that. If you're expecting something that tastes freshly baked, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. Entenmann's may not have storefront bakeries like others on this list, but their products dominate grocery store shelves, which makes them a household name. Unfortunately, Entenmann's goods are often nothing more than glorified packaged snacks loaded with preservatives. Their cakes, donuts, and cookies last for weeks on the shelf, which should tell you everything you need to know about freshness. The flavors are bland, overly sweet, and sometimes leave a chemical aftertaste. What was once a trusted brand has devolved into a mass-produced line of treats that are closer to candy bars than baked goods. They look appealing in their clear plastic boxes, but once you take a bite, the lack of real quality baking becomes painfully obvious. Next up is Great American Cookies, a chain often found in malls and food courts. Known for its oversized cookie cakes and colorful frosted squares, this chain thrives on nostalgia but delivers disappointment. The cookies are usually dry, overly sweet, and packed with artificial flavors and colors. Their cookie cakes, while popular for birthdays, often taste like cardboard with a thick layer of overly sweet frosting masking the blandness underneath. Customers who grew up loving the brand often return as adults only to find that the quality has nosedived. The chain seems more interested in creating Instagrammable products than actually baking something memorable. For anyone craving a real cookie, Great American Cookies is a chain to avoid. Tim Hortons also deserves a place on this list, especially for their bakery items. While the Canadian chain is beloved for coffee, their donuts, muffins, and pastries are notoriously inconsistent. Many stores serve products that arrive frozen and are simply reheated, leading to soggy textures, uneven flavors, and an overall lack of freshness. Longtime customers have complained that the quality has dropped significantly since the company expanded aggressively. A donut that once had a rich, fluffy texture now often tastes dense or dry. Their muffins and croissants fare no better, often tasting generic and lacking the buttery richness of real bakery items. For a chain that claims to be a coffee and donut staple, Tim Hortons baked goods are a shadow of what they should be. Another chain often criticized is Au Bon Pain, which markets itself as a French-inspired bakery cafe. The branding suggests sophistication, but the reality is far from it. Many of their pastries are reheated rather than freshly baked, and their croissants are often flat, greasy, and lacking the delicate layers of real French baking. Their bread is hit or miss, and their cookies and muffins are often described as dry or overly sweet. Add to that high prices and underwhelming portions, and Au Bon Pain becomes a chain where customers feel ripped off. It's proof that branding alone can't make up for lackluster quality. Krispy Kreme might be iconic for its hot glazed donuts, but outside of that single product, the chain struggles. Their specialty donuts are often excessively sweet, with heavy glazes and fillings that overpower any actual flavor from the dough itself. When the donuts aren't fresh off the line, they quickly lose their appeal, becoming dense and sticky. Many locations also serve stale-tasting batches that sit too long on display. Customers who catch the "Hot Now" sign may walk away satisfied, but otherwise, the chain is a risky bet. The hype doesn't match the everyday reality, making Krispy Kreme a bakery chain that fails to deliver consistency. Finally, there's Corner Bakery Cafe, a chain that has been sliding downhill for years. Marketed as a cozy neighborhood cafe, it has earned a reputation for stale pastries, bland bread, and overly processed-tasting desserts. Many of their menu items come across as prepackaged or factory-made rather than freshly baked in-house. Customers complain about croissants that taste like frozen dough, cookies that crumble without flavor, and slices of cake that feel heavy and artificial. With prices that continue to climb, the chain offers very little value. It's a classic case of a bakery chain that once had promise, but now survives more on nostalgia than actual quality. In the end, bakeries are supposed to be about freshness, craftsmanship, and indulgence. When chains lose sight of that and rely on frozen shipments, preservatives, and sugar-heavy shortcuts, they stop being bakeries and become assembly lines disguised as ones. Panera sells the illusion of artisan bread while relying on factory baking. Cinnabon overwhelms with sugar instead of balance. Dunkin' and Tim Hortons cut corners on quality for speed. Entenmann's thrives on packaging, not taste. Chains like Great American Cookies, Au Bon Pain, Krispy Kreme, and Corner Bakery Cafe continue to disappoint by prioritizing marketing over actual flavor. For true bakery lovers, these chains are traps to avoid at all costs. Proof that sometimes it's better to skip the convenience and seek out a local bakery that still values the art of baking.